Now on 12 News Midday, this month is American Heart Month, and today we're talking why knowing how to perform CPR is such a life-saving skill. Each year, more than 350,000 cardiac arrests happen outside the hospital in the U.S., and that's why we have Kristen Seibert with the American Heart Association here to join us today. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
It is such an important topic. First, I want to ask you, though, what is your role and your connection to AHA?
Absolutely. I've been a volunteer with the American Heart Association since I was about 7 years old. My mom dedicated her career to the American Heart Association, and so today I am a BLS instructor and training faculty for the American Heart Association. So not only am I training the community, but reaching out to that ripple effect about training others to train CPR as well.
And why is that so important to know how to give CPR?
Sure. So I'm going to back up and answer that question just a little bit from the beginning. The American Heart Association's mission is to be a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives. And as you mentioned, there are more than 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests each year. The staggering statistic is that only 1 in 10 is going to survive that arrest. And so CPR is what is going to help us increase that survival rate. The American Heart Association has made it a goal to double the rate of survival from 1 in 10 to 2 in 10 in the next 5 years. And CPR is the way we're going to do that.
And that is a great goal to have. That's an alarming number. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
Tell me a little bit about the Nation of Lifesavers campaign and kind of the goal there too.
Yeah, so the Nation of Lifesavers campaign is an awareness and education program to turn bystanders or the community into lifesavers. We want to ensure that anyone, anywhere, is empowered and equipped to become the vital link in the chain of survival by providing compressions and defibrillation between the time they activate 911 and when EMS actually arrives. Those two vital links are what's going to help us achieve that goal in increasing the rate of survival.
And maybe for people who can't take a CPR course for whatever reason, what would you want them to know is really the most important thing to know?
Sure. The most important thing to know is that they can take a class. The American Heart Association has the Family and Friends CPR program, and that is often a no-cost or low-cost program. There are CPR awareness programs that run throughout the year, and the goal, the most important thing to know is that you need to get your hands on a mannequin. We're going to talk about today those quick steps for hands-only CPR, but getting your hands on a mannequin and practicing. What does the depth feel like and what does that rate feel like? That's what's going to really give the confidence to act in an emergency.
And I think in the state of Virginia, too, when you call 911, the telecommunicator on the other end of the line can kind of give you instructions, right?
Absolutely. You want to get 911 on the phone so they can help coach you through those steps. But we don't want that emergency to be the first time that you're ever doing CPR. We want you to practice that on a mannequin just to sort of feel what that's like before an emergency happens.
That is for sure. And there's resources online, I think a 90-second video. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So the Heart Association has a great video on how to do hands-only CPR. And really that's about recognizing cardiac arrest. You want to tap on that person in their shoulder really firmly. You want to try to wake them up. Finding that you can't get that body to respond to you, you're going to call 911, get that telecommunicator on the phone with you. And then you're going to push hard and fast in the center of the chest at a rate of about 100 to 120, which is sort of nebulous. But what I always say is that you want to count your compressions because you want to be able to say 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's the rate for CPR. It's not as fast as your own heartbeat because you have adrenaline pumping through your system. You want your person to be nice and calm. So a nice, steady beat. 2 inches is the depth of that compression, and that's really deep. So that's why practicing is so important. Push hard, way harder than you think you have to push to be able to keep that depth going and keep the blood moving through the body.
And lastly, I want to ask you, is there a playlist to go along with CPR? Like, have we all seen this Office episode where it's like, staying alive, staying
My favorite is Uptown Funk.
I love that.
Yeah. The American Heart Association has a playlist on Spotify called Don't Drop the Beat, and it's about 10 and a half hours of CPR music. It's enormous, and there's everything from Whitney Houston to the Black Eyed Peas and everything in between. So find your favorite song, but count out loud, because your 911 dispatcher needs to hear you do CPR. So counting out loud is always the best. Push hard, push fast.
All great information, Kristen. Thank you so much for being here today.
Great.
Over to you, Heather.